Hello, everyone. Welcome to the player ratings for Arsenal. Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 4. Let me do that again. Let me do that again. These are literally some of like the first words that I'm saying. So, like, sorry. But this is the player ratings for Bournemouth. Forget it. Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 4. Who cares? Arsenal, a comprehensive win. Exactly what we needed. Probably the first time that Arsenal looked truly like themselves this season. Arsenal have been heavily criticized and I think scrutinized over the first couple of games in the season because they hadn't really been looking like themselves. The football was not moving the same. The connections were not quite there. There was a lot of questions around whether or not Arsenal bought the right players and if we have the right lineup and if we have blah, blah, blah. And Arsenal came out against a really poor Bournemouth side and just kind of did the business. And last season, Arsenal were really good at that. Now, this time it was a little bit different because I do think we got off to a slow start. But all in all, Arsenal were very dominant. They controlled the match. They got the two goals to start off with. It was just we were never in danger. We were never in danger. And I think this is the first time this season that we felt completely comfortable from minute 1 to minute 97. And 4 goals to the good. I know 2 of them were penalties, but who cares? I think the constant like, "Oh, well, it's not from open play." Yeah, we want to get more goals from open play, but the reason why you get penalties is because you put the other team under pressure and they make a mistake. And we've been making teams make mistakes over the last couple of games, but we haven't quite been able to take advantage of that. And this game was the first time that I felt like we were brutal. We took them completely out of the game. We didn't encourage them whatsoever. And it was just kind of a training match. And no offense to Bournemouth, but when Arsenal play Bournemouth, that is how it should be. It is so amazing to me how when Arsenal play away from home, there is no emotion. Arsenal defend properly. They're professional. They get the goal. They get the job done. We just look so much more serious away from home. And if we could apply the same concentration and commitment to defending and just like, I don't know, brain capacity at home as we do away, we'd be actually unstoppable. I loved the performance from Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba today. Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba are one of the best center back pairings in Europe. It's just, you can't really deny it anymore. The way that they just completely shut you out. Bournemouth had no answers. Some of the tackles and the blocks that they did, the last kind of like last man defending was outstanding today. For me, like that center back pairing is my man of the match because we have not conceded a goal away from home yet. And that is not easy to do. Usually, when you go away from home, the other team has chances, and we have completely shut out the light in a couple of matches away from home. And it's a lot of it has to do with those two. And I'm so glad Gabriel has come back into this team. And early days, kind of like with Arteta, he was trying new things. Who knows? It was an odd situation not starting Gabriel, but my goodness, the two of them together, yin and yang, they just go together so well. Gabriel, an insane match for him. Saliba, just a typical like perfection match for him. And then you had, players up top that did the business. I think there was a lot of criticism or like a little bit of skepticism around Eddie starting. I think for the most part, he justified that start. He won the penalty. He was lively. I think he should score maybe even once or twice, but not even our main striker is scoring goals. So for me, it's as long as we win the game and we look like we're the dominant force, there's nothing I really can do or say. So I wasn't totally happy with Eddie starting, but it is what it is. He did the business. And it was so nice seeing Emile Smith-Rowe come out. He's so unlucky not to score 1, maybe 2 goals. It's coming. It's coming. Seeing Emile Smith-Rowe back into the side, getting some minutes, it's coming. He is going to get that goal. But it was a great showing from Arsenal. And somebody else that got a goal today was Kai Havertz. And I know it was a little bit of like give this guy the penalty. Go ahead, give this guy the penalty. But he got it. He put it in the back of the net. And what else can you really say? It was a comprehensive performance from Arsenal. It's one that we've only seen from last season that we were waiting to see, but we've also been able to see other players come in and maintain the level. We beat Brentford, now we've beaten Bournemouth, and then now we just go back into the Champions League and try to get another dub. So I'm ecstatic about the performance that we saw today, and in particular, our defensive solidity is out of this world. Like Raya made a save too, like his collections, how he's calm on the ball. For all the criticism that he got against Spurs, I think you can really clearly see why he's in the team. And great pickup for Arsenal. So let me go ahead and see what you guys are talking about. I'm so hungry. I'm sorry. This is the part in the show again where I tell you guys that I'm so hungry. Anthony Soto says absolute dominance. Exactly. And that's what you expect from Arsenal at this stage. We are a much better side than Bournemouth. They really should not be in the game. They're in the relegation zone. And I was saying before, like, we haven't gotten a chance to play one of the relegation sides. Like, some of our contemporaries have played against multiple relegation sides and have looked good. Of course, we're going to look good against them as well. We are one of the better teams in the league. We just needed to come up against a team that was really crap. And for us to put in a performance like this was absolute dominance, but also without really breaking a sweat. I didn't really see, we didn't strain. Like, we were very comfortable, and that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Enzo says, again, another champion performance. Boy says the home crowd is harder to play in front of than the away supporters. The away support was out of this world. Like, you could just hear them. Like, obviously I'm not there, but you could just feel like the positivity that comes from the away side, or the away fans is spectacular. Like, I could only imagine what it feels like to be on the pitch and just hearing your fans louder than the home fans. I mean, they were out of this world. They definitely helped get the boys over the line. They didn't need a lot of help, but you guys know what I mean. Like, they are definitely like that 12th man doing the business. Gent next door says Gabriel and Saliba, both world-class physical titans. There is, I don't know. There's just not enough that I could say about the two of them. Gabriel is somebody largely, written off because he made some big mistakes, and especially at the beginning of last season, but he's really cut those out, and he's just a really good defender. Like, I know that defending kind of goes under the radar because we really love what's going on in the attack, but there's just so many years under Arsene Wenger that I was like, can you please just focus on the defense? Like, the door is open at the back. And when you have two beasts like Saliba and Gabriel back there for you, I mean, it's insane. I absolutely love their performance today. And I just feel like the combination of the two have to be my man of the match. Like, I don't know, like, the performance was just, it just gave me chills. I loved it. Matt G says going invincible isn't for everyone. And we don't even have to worry about Man City going invincible. Hello. I mean, I was getting a little worried about it, but thank you, Wolves. Thank you, Wolves. Tawana says proud of the team to give Havertz the pen. I mean, one thing that you cannot deny about Arsenal is that there is that family and togetherness, and it's the type of like relationship and family atmosphere that really takes care of its own. And Kai just needed like a goal or an assist or something, and I started to feel somewhat through the half, like the first half, I was like, have we gotten Kai to be a box to box like bruiser? Like, what have we gotten here? And I just think that, like, getting a goal will help him take that scrutiny off a little bit. It's a penalty, but who cares? And then hopefully it all kind of falls into place at some point. But as long as you're winning, and you're winning the way we're winning, those conversations don't have to be the top conversation all the time. And so I think we can go into the next game without having to have the Kai Havertz conversation, because he got a goal, he took his pen well, and we won. And that's all that matters. Social Join says good professional win. Exactly. Alistair Ben says Invincibles is safe now. Hell yeah, it is. Boy says no one is going invincible for another century. Don't get rattled by these rival fans always wanting someone to go invincible and take our shine. Such a hard thing to do. That's why nobody else really is doing it. It's not easy. World Boss says, hey, Jess, great win today. Havertz looked okay today. Come on, you Gunners. And Alistair Ben also says that's a massive pressure penalty for Havertz, and I thought he had a good game today as well. I definitely was feeling like I'm going to have to rewatch this one because it's so hard to see what he's doing, because like just is not as like he is involved, but it doesn't feel like it. So it's definitely a rewatch. But and like I told you guys, there's gonna be a rewatch on the Patreon side with Laura Kirk Francis, as well as the post match podcast. You guys know pretty much go live on a daily basis at about 4 p.m. UK time. But if you want more content and more in-depth analysis, it's going to be on Patreon. But if it's something that you can't do, something you can't afford, no worries. There's going to be tons of content on the channel anyway. So no problem. Oh man, United lost. Oh, good job, Palace. Get on. Yeah, I love it. I love it. This is, you guys, shaping up to be a good weekend. And obviously the big game is going to be Liverpool versus Spurs. And some of the disrespect that I've seen of Liverpool in regards to this game, as if Spurs are just going to like wipe them off the planet, is so nonsense. Like, I actually think Liverpool look really good this season. I think both teams have flaws like everybody else, but big game ahead. But now we get to just kind of like chill, you know? Oka says Manchester lost. Exactly. Manchester as a whole lost. There's 150 of you guys in here, which is amazing. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. You guys, priorities. I have not eaten, but you're damn right. Your girl has her mimosa. Okay, because Arsenal won and I enjoyed the game. And like, I feel like I deserve it. So, like, this is going to be my sustenance for the next hour or so. Do not judge. Do not judge because you guys love me. Hello. Take a little sip. Let's go. We're going to get into the player ratings right now. John P says Havertz' defensive game is much better than I thought it would be, but Smith Rowe could have scored twice in 10 minutes. He needs to sort the other side of his game. He has to be a shoe-in. That's the thing. It's Emil Smith Rowe looks more deadly or more dangerous going forward. Havertz looks better out of possession. And so if you could just combine the two, you'd probably have a perfect player. So yeah. Crow T says Liverpool are title contenders for sure. I think they are, like, obviously because they have people that have been there and done it before. I think this is off subject, but Liverpool have reconfigured their midfield very quickly with two very good players in McAllister and Soboslai. And they just look the business going forward. And if they can shut the back door, they're probably one of the best attacking sides in the league. Like, they just have a plethora of attacking options that are very deadly. You guys know I'm a big fan of Darwin Nunez. So seeing him like come together in this second season is great from a neutral perspective. But I do think Liverpool are in the title in the title race. But I also think based on today, we probably are there as well. Like, they're looking at the table, like, we're second. We're second. And we have 17 points. And if Liverpool were to win, obviously they go top of the table. If Spurs were to win, they will go ahead of us and we'll be third, I think. Unless something weird happens with goal difference. But if they draw, I think that's really good for us. I think I'm going for the draw more than anything to keep them from anybody getting maximum points. But for a team that's playing real bad, we look real good on that table, okay? So yeah, it's early days. Nashville says, nothing says class like champagne in a solo club. You guys know I'm about that life, okay? Like, I don't need like a stem glass or anything like that. Like, give me a red solo cup and we are ready to go. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into these player ratings. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, and get in the chat and let me know how you guys are feeling, because this is your show just as much as mine. You guys know I'm going to go through the players and give my thoughts on them, and then you guys give your thoughts as well. And that's how we do the show. Okay. Raya, what can I say? Like, again, like I was saying, like in the intro, like, for a player that was heavily criticized off of the back of the Spurs game, and then also criticized again because Ramsdale like kind of had a decent game against Brentford and they were, oh, Ramsdale needs to come back in. This is why Raya's in the team. Now, every single game is not going to be like this, but when you have all the possession and, you want to play from the back, break them down, and really discourage the team from even getting any sort of excitement whatsoever, Raya is your guy, because his high, like, when he collects the ball and he gets his like high claims and stuff like that, like, you could, like, that seems small, but if you make the wrong choice or you kind of go and then go back, it encourages the opposition. All they need is one chance for you to look uncertain at the back, and they'll take advantage of it. And I think what he gives you is a level of calm and certainty that sometimes Ramsdale doesn't give you, because he's so energetic and he makes like little mistakes. And so back against the wall, you probably want Ramsdale in your corner. When you're totally in control, you probably want Raya in your corner. And I thought he had an excellent game. He had one real good save that I think he had to make, where like that could have easily been like a goal for Bournemouth. We were sloppy in possession on the left. They switched it over to our right-hand side, their left-hand side, and then they got a nice shot and it's going into that corner, and Raya makes the save. He's just, you can tell why we have him in between the sticks. And it's not even shade on Ramsdale, because again, the conversation is not Ramsdale bad, Raya good. It's Ramsdale really good, Raya probably just a little bit better. And that 5% can be the difference. 2%, 1% can be the difference between Arsenal being title contenders and being trying to finish in the top 4, you know? And so I thought he had an excellent performance today, really made up for the Spurs one, which wasn't his best. And so clean sheet, made a couple of saves, some good distribution from the back. Not that great opposition, so I'm not going to go too far, but I'm going to give him an 8.5, because I think he did well off of the back of maybe a poor performance against Spurs. So yeah, I thought he was great. I thought he was great. Ansa says 8 for Raya. Darker than Blue says professional performance, everyone concentrating and stopping Bournemouth onto Champions League. Alistair Ben says Ramsdale is one of my favorite players, but Raya is just so good. Looking at him and Onana, we got a bargain. Diallo said Raya actually tries to catch the ball. Rambo prefers to pam it instead. It's so calming to our defense. He even had a really good punch where I'm just like, those are situations where the ball drops in our box and then both of our players get confused and then they kick it in the back of the net. Like, I think about the mistake that it was between Ramsdale and Tomiyasu against Manchester United last season at home. Totally avoidable situation where we had just went 2-1 up. It's kind of like a pattern at home. We go 2-1 up, and then very quickly after we give up a sloppy goal, and Tomiyasu and Ramsdale run into each other, where Ramsdale should just kind of be claiming that ball. And so I'm not saying that Ramsdale couldn't have done any of the things that Ray has done in these games. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. What I am trying to say is that I just think there's like a level of calm that everybody feels back there with him. And you can really just see it if you take your emotion away from Ramsdale. We all know, we all love him. You can see why. It's pretty obvious. Zich says Raya was solid, but not much for Raya to do. The thing is, though, is like in most games, in 95% of our games, there's not going to be much for our goalkeeper to do. We're pretty dominant in every single game, and they have to make the 1 or 2 saves that they have to make. And everything else is about distribution and not encouraging the opposition. And so, yeah, against Manchester City, it'll be different. Against anybody in the top 4, top 6 is going to be different, and he's going to have more to do. But we have to judge him based on not just the opposition, but how do most Arsenal games go? And so what's best for us for the 95% of the times that we're trying to dominate a game? We need a goalkeeper that's calm. So for me, it's not always like, oh, he wasn't battered, so I can't give him that high of a score. That does kind of come into play, but like the reality is we're not going to get battered in very many games. This is the assignment. This is the assignment, So I think he did really well. Richard says next Sunday will be the real test up the Arsenal. Diallo says exactly. It's pretty obvious. I think it is as well. So 8.5 for Raya. Good rebound game after Spurs. And the goalkeeper conversation rages on, even though it doesn't look like a problem. You didn't play. Ben White, interesting game for him because he obviously scores the goal. I love when Ben White scores goals. It doesn't happen very often, but when it does, the dopamine rush is just it. A player that has immense fitness levels. I think that he has looked tired and has needed a rest, but has powered through these last couple of games and, power to him. I don't think he's had his best moments. I think he had like one dodgy moment in this game, but like for the most part, we were so dominant that it really didn't matter. And he had a couple of different like decent moments overlapping, but like it wasn't a spectacular Ben performance, but I also feel like it's because we were so dominant and Saliba and Gabriel did so much work that it like didn't really matter. So he got a goal though. So I'm gonna give him, it's so hard. I think I'm gonna give him an 8. But people might think it's too high. Um because people are a little bit lower on Ben right now, but I'm not as low on Ben as everybody else. So an 8 for me. Albert says Ben 8. Let's see. Christian says Benny has his flaws, but we love him. He's not a perfect player. Most players are not perfect, unless you're that's the difference between having a top player and like a world-class player is like a lot of times world-class players like those flaws are very minimal, very, very minimal, or they really just succeed beyond whatever flaws that they have. And I think Ben is somebody that because he doesn't defend well in wide areas, he gets exposed against the better wingers, especially if he's not at his best fitness levels. But for the most part, he's going to give you a 7 out of 8 or 7 or 8 in most games. 95, 96% of games, he's going to give you that. But that not being able to defend in wide spaces is kind of just who he is. So Arsenal need to figure out a way to um, eliminate that threat by either being better defensively, like in helping him, or bringing in somebody that's like a 1v1 specialist or playing Tomiyasu there. But that's not going to change. So if he gets cooked in wide areas, it's hard for me to be like upset with him because it's just not a part of his game. It's not, I don't think it's because he's being a bad defender. But it just is what it is. So either Arsenal need to get a better 1v1 defender on that side, or we just need to defend well as a team so Ben's flaws are not as prominent, if that makes sense. But a good game for him, 8 is fine. Stitch says 7.5 for Ben. Lotus says 8 is good. Elliot Roberts says White 8 goal and confidence performance. Alistair Ben says Ben White 8 most underrated player in the Prem. I loved his performance. I thought it was fine. And so we keep going here because I'm sure we have more to talk about further up the pitch. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say about this young man? Oh my goodness. Between him and Gabriel, like just the two of them had a spectacular performance. I mean, just the way that we defend as a team away from home is just insane. But like, it just gives me chills because I love defense. Like, I love defensive solidity. I love a clean sheet. And like, these two are like defenders of my dreams. Like, there was just so long that we just didn't have real defenders. And like, seeing these two guys comfortable on the ball, shutting out the light, making their attackers look like crap. Like, it's just, yeah, it's just the business. I love it. He was great. Giving him a 9. And I'll probably give Big Gabby one as well. Like, I'm so gassed by that performance. Like, it was just what I need. It's what I needed. Okay. Boy says Saliba is the best center back of the incoming generational players. Generation of players, it says 8.5, absolute dominance. Nashville says Saliba is classier than the Champagne and the Solo Cup. He sure is. He is a very classy player. Like, that is for sure. And the two of them together, Gabriel and Saliba, just makes so much sense because I don't even need to explain it. Y'all know. Y'all know. Like, the two of them together, just, that's all I can say. It's just perfect. Boy says we used to hope for Mustafi to help us keep clean sheets. Mustafi, exactly. That's why, like, these days, I take them and I really relish in them because I remember when we were just tragic at the back, okay? And like sometimes I don't even think we're bad defensively. I just think we make individual errors at home. I think for the most part, we are a very good defensive side, really good out of possession. Like, when we're out of possession, we are very good. And it's very difficult for the other team to get chances. But we just like to hit ourselves over the head and give them opportunities that they don't deserve. But when we don't do that, the other team literally has such a difficult time scoring goals. And so, yeah, I'm feeling it. John P says we can add Timber to these guys one day. You guys, I love Timber so much. Nashville says, do you bench Gabriel and Zinni to wedge Partey back in when he's available? Don't try me. Don't try me. Absolutely not. Okay? No. No way, Jose. Like, this is the center back pairing. The only way you break this up is if one of them can't play, you know? Moving on, just because, like, I'm just going to give them both the same score. Gabriel Magalhaes, please. You're effing brilliant. You're so good. The blocks, like, I wish I could say this to his face. Like, you're so good. Believe in your life because, like, you are that guy. You are that good. Like, you make the mistakes, but now you've cut them out. And so now, if people just take his performances from October when he signed his new deal last season till October now, that is like some top level consistency that if his name was, I don't know, Lissandro Martinez, people would be kissing his ass. That guy is so good. That guy is so good. Like, I love him. I love him. 9. I'm gassed. I love him. There's a reason why people keep asking us for him. It's because he's brilliant. If he had on any other kit, like boy saying, like Real Madrid, people would rate him. He's so good. CG, thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate that. Next time, put a little comment in there. I'll put a little comment in there. I know you put a little comment in there, but like, what's your player rating? Cool hand, Luke as well. Thank you so much. You guys, use up those super chats right as much as you want. Like, I will definitely spend time on those super chats. But thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Cosmic Moss says Gabriel plays better when Saliba is there. They just go together so well. So well. Like, I even think Saliba struggles a little bit without Gabriel. Like, the two of them just go together so good. Not Focal says our defense is awesome, and this is without Timber. John P says Gabriel was the better one for me today. So a 9. Boy says Magalhaes is wanted by Real Madrid, and we can see why. Zich says 9 for Big Gabby, amazing, just amazing. And like when we talk about value for money signings, I think like for me, Odegaard is number 1 under Arteta as a value for money signing. Like 30 million doesn't even begin to like that. That's Odegaard's left foot. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like that is a like star midfield signing that we got for like nothing. So that really stands out for me. Zinchenko value for money, like 30 million or something, like for the type of player that we got. Gabriel is up there as well. I think we paid like 27 million for Gabriel, and a player of his level, like his physicality, size, defensive prowess, ball playing ability, consistency, like fitness levels. This defender goes for 85, 90 million now, and that's why maybe, some people do feel like we can get better than him, but the only way to get better than him is to sign like the best defender in the fucking world. Like that's how small the gap is. And so value for money, Gabrielle is one of our top signings right up there for me with Zinchenko and Odegaard. He's excellent. The Emancipator says 8 for Gabby. Elliot Roberts says Gabby 9. Oh, so very robust and dominating. Nashville says, well, his right foot is pretty worthless, so I would value the left foot more than the 30 million. Fair enough. Liquid Danger says, great win. Big up, Jess. Big up to you as well. Roger says, my dream is to see the back four of Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, and Tommy and Rice in front of it defensively sound. I love that. I love that. And CG says Gabrielle is a monster. Exactly. There's 300 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys are 1, getting in the comments, 2, liking this video, and 3, subscribing to the channel. I love these days with you guys. It's just the absolute best. So moving on, let's see who we have next. Tommy, I thought he was like a little dodgy at the beginning when he first came in, but I think with Tommy, what it is that he's so comfortable at center back that I think when you pull him and put him in fullback and like he's playing in a different role, like different angle, different players, like he just takes a minute to get going. But I thought he got going at a certain point, and had some decent like interventions and just kept possession, and especially when Jorginho came on. So I'm just going to give him like a straight 7. Like he didn't play long enough for me to like really give him like the biggest score in the world. Like he came in on the left. He had a couple of little moments, but I think that's just because the picture is just so different. He played right-sided center back like a couple days ago, and now you're coming in at left back, and nobody that's playing around you is the same person that was playing with you the other day. So I'm going to give him a 7. Doesn't really need to like go that deep into it. Like Zich says, 7, inverted well, good cameo. We can leave it at that. Zinny's in. Almost scored a goal twice. He had one in the first half. That was a really good shot that Neto had to get to. And then the second one was like one of those moments where it was kind of like bobbling around in the box and Neto had to make a save. really good performance from Zinchenko. I just want to point out the fact that I think defensively he's doing quite well. He's still not somebody that's going to be like a defensive monster. Like, so I don't have like super high expectations in that regard. But in terms of like diving in, like he's not diving in as much. Like he's using his body to shield the ball. His interceptions are quite good. He's always been good aerially, which is strange because he's such a small player, but he's so good aerially. And I thought he had a really good performance today. Really got us going. I would love to see a comp of some of his passing today. And, I thought he and Rice in midfield were very good and very dominant. So I'm going to give Zinni an 8. I could probably give him more than that. I'm actually going to give him like an 8.5. I thought it was really good. They have some miscommunications on that left-hand side because the person that's always there is different. Either the person in front of Zinchenko is different or the person to the right of Zinchenko is different. So I do think that they have some miscommunications there where Kai's trying to run and Zinchenko's trying to pass to him and then the ball is given away. But ultimately, like, I think Zinchenko had a very good game. So I'm happy. I'm happy about that performance. Let's see. Diallo says Zinni is a 9. I don't fucking care. Zinni played only 69 minutes, but still more passes than everyone in the entire game. Hashtag my baller. I love that. Hugo says an 8. Zitch says 8. Zinni did Zinni things, great passes, and was taken off before he could make the late mistake. Fair enough. You got to know your players, right? Like he's pretty much spent at the 60th minute, so you have to get him off as soon as possible. But good player. Like he has world-class ability on like sometimes when you look at some of the things that he does and you realize that other midfielders just can't even dream of being able to do some of the things that he does. The problem that he has is that he's not being asked to just be a midfielder. He's also getting into the back line and trying to defend. And I think sometimes because we're hyper focused on what he does defensively, we don't really appreciate what he does on the ball. And he does have to defend well. Like that is not something that we should not expect from him just because he is a midfielder. But I think sometimes we do take for granted the things that he does. So yeah, I do think that he had a really good game today. Hugo says that play for the PK was good. Nashville says Zinni made a lot of tackles today. I know because Peacock froze and replayed 2 of them. Peacock had a mare today. John P says an 8. John P says I agree with the chat on Zinni. And John P says, great tackle, Zinni, 60 minutes, Tommy, 30 minutes to close out. It's the perfect way to break up the game. I think we're getting it right now. There's a period of time between the 60th minute and the 70th minute where you have to get Zinchenko off because he loses concentration and he gets tired. And so Tomiyasu being able to come in is such a good tool. Like it's perfect. Diallo says, I love the fact that he's shooting more. His technique is off the charts. I would love to see Zinni get more goals. Like I know that that's just something he hasn't really had in the Prem. I would love for him to get more goals. So great performance from Zinni. You didn't play. Little cameo, decent cameo. I'm going to give him kind of like the same-ish, like 7 that I gave Tommy. Came on to control. And I thought once there was a period of time between Tommy and Nelson coming on and Jorginho and Vieira coming on, I think, where we kind of got a little bit sloppy and we weren't controlling the match the way that I felt like we should have. Like at 3-0, I just kind of want to see you guys popping the ball around. We're kind of getting deep and like kicking it out. And I think Jorginho really helps us in those moments just to like keep possession. I thought he did a good job. He didn't play enough for me to like give him like a super good like score, but a 7 I think is good enough for him. All of the cameos were pretty good. So there you go. So yeah, we'll just zoom past the Jorginho thing though, because like we have bigger things to talk about. Like this young man, you guys, Mr. Cleanup Man, Mr. Cleanup Man. That's just what it is. Like, I get that there's other midfielders that probably like move you more, like because the way that they look on the ball. But I thought Rice had a spectacular game, especially for somebody that is carrying a knock. He was it for me. The amount of tackles and interceptions, his ability to glide past defenders, hold them off and get us up the pitch. I thought his progressions were great. He didn't have to do much. Like, it wasn't the type of game where we had to, like, our DM had to be doing like the most, but what he needed to do, he did it to perfection. And he had some of those blocks in the box as well, like with Gabriel and Saliba. He's just it. He's just it. Like, I love the performance from Rice today. I don't understand what people are not seeing. Like, I don't think I'm not seeing backwards and sideways passing. I'm seeing progressive passing and progressive carries. That's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing tackles. I'm seeing stopping transitions. I'm seeing Mr. Cleanup. So when you have the, back of like Saliba, the wall of Saliba and Gabrielle, and then you stick Rice in front of them, if you don't have a brain fart, it's very difficult for you to get anything from any change from these guys. So for me, he's right up there with Gabriel and Saliba for like just about a perfect performance. So I'm gonna give him a 9. Maybe I'm gassing it. Maybe I'm gassing it. Maybe I'm just too, whatever. But I just want to see my DM win his battles, win his duels, intercept, tackles, keep possession, get us up the pitch, do the business. Like, that's just what I want to see. That's it. So I'm calling him Mr. Cleanup Man because he just kind of cleans up everything. And that's what you need from your DM. Hugo says, housekeeping Rice. Exactly. Jay says, played lights out today. Leslie Montgomery says, Saliba is world class. Nashville says, all right, stop, collaborate and listen. All right, stop, collaborate and listen. Rice is back with brand new invention. Okay, I'm not going to do all that, but thank you. Yeah, like he's just great. Elliot Roberts says, Declan 9, man of the match, 3 words, worth every penny. He is like, I mean, I don't know. I guess because like he came off at halftime against Spurs, and that was really when the game went to shit, wasn't it? Because Sar and Basuma started to really gain some influence on the game, and we were unable to like sustain our pressure in midfield. And Rice before that had like won all of his duels, had won everything. And I just feel like that's what you need in your midfield, like a steely presence that just makes you very difficult to break down. And he just does it. And so it's not flashy, and it's definitely not, body feints and, whatever Basuma's doing in the midfield, but this is what we need. Like, this is what we need. And so I love him. I love him. Hugo says 9. Boy says people want Rice to be Scholes meets Vieira and have the crunching tackle, godlike physicality, and Hollywood balls to the wings. It's not our problem if they want a fantasy player. No, godlike physicality. It's not our problem if they want a fantasy player. Yeah, I mean, but I like what I'm seeing is a lot of that. Like, he's not going to ever be as smooth as Vieira. Like, Vieira is a one of a kind. Like, people will go for years trying to emulate what Vieira could do. And the reason why we have never seen it is because it cannot be replicated. He was a physical presence that won his duels and all that kind of stuff. But he was also just like, he was just so smooth. And like, he just was just like, I don't know, poetry in motion type midfielder, box to box. Like, you're not going to find another Vieira. So to expect Rice to look like that, I think is unfair. But he's winning his duels. He's getting us up the pitch. If he can add some more goals to his game, which DMs don't need goals, but like if he could add those more goals, I don't see why he can't have the same impact in our team as Vieira. I'm looking for impact, not same aesthetically, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of what Rice gets dinged for is the fact that he's not as aesthetically pleasing as Vieira or Partey, but his impact is more like Vieira. And that's all that matters to me. Charlie says steady 8 by Declan. Hello, Jess. Hello to you as well. Trini says Rice is still young and developing. That's a really good point. Like, he's still 24. He has room to grow, and just a fantastic player. Richard says Rice will only get better, and he's already bloody good. I agree. Thompson says 9. So yeah. CG says Rice equals the janitor. 8 today, strong again. Good performance. I was very impressed, especially off of the back of the injury. This guy, his pass to the back post to Jesus for the first goal, I thought was typical Odegaard. I do believe Odegaard is more of the pass before the pass. we want his creativity numbers to be steady, obviously, and there's been a lot of conversation around, him shooting too much and not having enough creativity, whatever. Like, he just makes the team tick. Like, it's just that clear. I think Zinchenko and Odegaard do a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to controlling tempo, getting us up the pitch. They know that they understand timing and when to go, when to speed things up, when to slow things down. They have disguised passes. They're cute with their play. And I just love the way Odegaard plays. I still don't think we're even still seeing the best Odegaard, though. I still think there's a little bit of room to grow, but he puts away the penalty. He has the pass before the pass for the first goal. I thought all in all it was a strong game for him. Not his best, but the thing is like even like we're at the point with Saka and Odegaard. This is how you know that they're really good players, they're top players, is that even when they're not having their best of best games, they're still getting goals and assists and impacting the side. And so we're in that phase with Saka and Odegaard where I still don't think they've hit their stride. They're still playing really well, but that to me that's a mark of a really good player. That's what I look at like with Salah. He could have a complete mare and still have an assist and a goal. That's where we are with Odegaard and Saka, but I thought Odegaard had a great game. I'm going to give him a 9 because I feel like it. I thought that this was probably one of his best performances this season, and again, heavily criticized, probably rightfully, for the Spurs game. Comes out today, does the business. That's all I can ask. So yeah. Natalie says, that's my captain. Saliba voice, 9.5. I love that. Charlie says 9.5 or 9.5 for Odegaard. Play more like an 8 than a 10, and the team benefited immensely. He's definitely playing a more reserved role, this season. He's definitely not like just right in and around the box. So, which is fine. Like, I don't mind his role changing. Odegaard can do so much. Like, that's why he's so good, because he can do so many things. Elliot Roberts says Odegaard 9. Soligard is back. Aaron says watching live from Kenya. Well, welcome. Zitch says, oh, captain, my captain, 8.5. I think I'm probably somewhere around like a 9, 8.5, 9. Like, I still think there's levels to go for Odegaard, but you guys know I'm only harsh on him, or like slightly harsh, because I know Odegaard can do so much more. But this was great. This was a good performance. C. Wilder says, I was telling everyone that Rice wouldn't be an instant upgrade, but gradual one. Wrong. These two still have levels to go, Rice and Odegaard. If we could just get Havertz to get going, I think we'd be in a good space. Just get going, Havertz, get going. He wasn't poor today or anything. Nice little cameo. Had a couple of really nice passes into Gabriel Jesus, I thought. Did his little bits. I think I want to see him start against Lens. I think either, it depends on what Saka's injury looks like, but, if he's carrying a little bit of something, just play Vieira. Just play Vieira. But Vieira is showing himself to be a very useful member of the squad. I think on another day, Gabriel Jesus maybe gets to the end of one of those, or, he gets an assist. Like, he just has an eye for a pass. And so for me, just like a 7, just like everybody else that had a cameo. It was good. Not anything to write home about, but Fabio doing his business, and maybe he will get a start soon. But I think a lot of that depends on what happens with Saka. Let's keep it pushing here. So interesting. Like, is Kai a box to box like bruiser? Is that what we got him for? Because he fouls a lot and he tries to get stuck in. I think sometimes he gets unlucky. I think sometimes he's called for fouls that aren't actually fouls, and he's refereed a little bit differently. It's like he's refereed like a striker that can't tackle. And sometimes he does get to the ball and wins it. And I just think that they're like, oh, he looks clumsy, so it's a foul, right? I think he largely looked like he's been looking, which decent link up play, trying to get stuck in, trying to win his duels, some sloppy passes that either didn't make it to the person or, whatever. But ultimately, like, what can you say? Like, we won the game. And so I can't be too, because he's doing his job, whatever. Still just want to see a little bit more. Like, he did have that nice move with Nketiah where Nketiah like flicks it onto him, and then he puts in that like pass that doesn't quite get to Nketiah. He also had like a shot that maybe he should cross. Like, It's just the things need to knit together in the box. If he can get that, like, he will be fine. But, he puts his penalty away nicely. And, I think that's a high pressure moment for Kai Havertz because that could go very wrong. Like, if he misses that, like, it's just like in the MLS All Stars, but like way worse, So I'm going to give him a 7.5. I think it was fine. I want to see a little bit more, but maybe it's a slow burn. But when you win, it doesn't end up being um, costly, which is important for me. So yeah. Wow, wow, wow. What a game so far. Both teams going for it. I'm glad we won. I can actually enjoy this. Actually, I'm gonna turn on that game too so I can see it while we're doing the rest of this because like I don't want to miss anything. Do you see what I'm saying? Um what channel is it on, guys? Do you guys even know? My Americans in the house. What channel is that game on? Oh, okay, I got it. Give me a second, guys. I just wanna make sure I would, like, have the game on so I can see it just like you guys. Get in the comments and let me know what you guys are thinking, um, about our game. And, Diallo is 100% right. When you win your game, you could just sit back and watch the madness unfold because it doesn't have anything to do with you. James says, "I'm happy Havertz got a goal today. Those Havertz banter was sickening." And the one thing that really frustrated me a little, like, I saw it today. I saw something like I forget where it came from, but it was like a comparison of, like, Brendan Johnson and Ansu Fati and Havertz. All 3 signed this summer. Who will get their first goal? I'm still trying to understand why Havertz is being compared to forwards when he's clearly playing midfield for Arsenal. Like, do you see what I'm saying? So it's just like it's a little forced. Nashville says Kai could have gotten more. Eddie looked him off twice in the box. The Cosmic Moss says Kai 7, typical form that we've seen from him, but had a goal. Charlie says 7. Kai had a fair game and a calm penalty goal. Monkey off his back. Hope he kicks on. Zitch says a 7.5. Havertz was good. Chosen One says 9 for Martin El Capitan. 4 goals already. He better not stop shooting. 8 for Kai. So happy he got his first goal. Thought he was solid for sure. John P says 7. He was good today, but not quite convincing me. I hear that. Trini says we need a more aggressive Kai Havertz. I hear that as well. Richard said Kai needed a goal. Now he needs to add a bit more. I will start against Lens, and he has another opportunity to convince him. Jury still out. So all of this is fair. I think all of this is fair. Thank you guys for the channel. I got it up now so we can continue. But yeah, 7.5, 7, somewhere around an 8. That's probably fair for Kai. Emil, I thought he had a really good cameo, better than more impactful than like Vieira and Tomiyasu, I think. I feel like I want to give him just a little bit more because he was in it. Like he really was in it. He should score, so I'm going to give him a little half point there. For Emil, but it's coming. It's coming, and it's so nice seeing him involved. Like, it's so nice seeing him involved because we know he's a talented player. We want to see him kind of like rise to the occasion like Saka and Martinelli has, and maybe he just needs another year or so to like really get it popping, but I thought he was really good. So yeah, that's what I think. Let's see. You guys go ahead and get me my scores for Emil. He really should score though, I think. Aaron says Arsenal forever. Diallo says, I've given up on Kai as an attacker. He's doing a different role in the team. I've learned he's a cross-country runner. Fair enough. Martin N says, what do you think of shit? Tottenham. Zitch says, 7.5. Bright cameo. Definitely need to see more. Charlie says, the boy is back. I mean, if this is what we're seeing so far, off of just like a half or like 60 minutes or so against Brentford and about 20 minutes, maybe even less against Bournemouth, just give him some time and he'll do the business. Elliot Roberts says ESR 7, getting the confidence back and so great to see. Diallo says Emil gets a 7. I agree. And Charlie says 7 should have had 2 goals. So just got to knit together the other pieces, I think. Come on, Liverpool, do one. Fuck. Damn. Come on, Liverpool, do so disrespectful. Some of the things that I've seen people say about Liverpool, like I'm not even like obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so I don't give a fuck about Liverpool really, but like the idea that Tottenham are just gonna kind of wipe them away is really disrespectful. Um, so yeah, wild stuff. Let's see. You didn't play. Little cute cameo. I'll give him a 7 as well. Don't need to spend too much time on Reese. Unlucky not to start, but it is what it is, right? So I'm gonna give him a 7. Hopefully we see more of him in the Carabao Cup, but Bright did his job, took care of business, nothing really to write home about. And I just want to see a little bit more of Reese Nelson, sooner rather than later. Maybe he starts against West Ham. Who knows? Um, and Saka, there's not really much more I can say about a player that consistently shows up, plays even when he has little knocks here and there, scores the first goal, scores no, he doesn't. No, he didn't have the second penalty. So he just had one goal today. Could have easily taken all both of those penalties, really, but he just was good and then didn't have to do anything else really. Like he scored his first goal, he burnt them a couple of times, and he just kind of like professional performance from Saka, like a very seasoned player, I think. And so Saka for me, I'm just gonna give him like an 8.5. Like he did his job. I'm hoping that he's not injured. He really should have come off a lot earlier, but 8.5 for me. 8.5 for me for Bukayo Saka. He's our star, and we're just going to see him continuously play even when he's not 100% fit, and hopefully he can rest against Lens, and we have enough quality to beat them, so we don't need to play Saka. But he's still got a goal. Like, he's such an insane player, this guy, because I didn't even think he was going to travel. Diallo says the fact that he gave away that penalty to our captain gives him a 9. Chosen One says Saka 8.5 for sure. Hope his injury isn't serious. Seawalder says praise, none of our business. Chosen One says wiping them away. That's crazy. Like you said, I'm an Arsenal fan, but that's really the only team who's challenged Man City since Pep has been here. Put some respect on them. Charlie says 9.5, Big B. He's an insane player. Cosmic Moss says Starboy 9. Martin says 9 for Sacks. Zitch says 8.5. Open the scoring solid, very solid performance. Didn't have to do much, but like you shouldn't have to do much against Bournemouth. They're shit, So I love that he didn't have to really break a sweat, but he still got his goal involvement. Like he's that good. Trini says extra point for Bukayo for giving penalties to others. And Elliot Roberts says Saka 8 didn't have to be spectacular to be influential. That's how stars are. I agree. 110%. You guys are on point. Next, last but not least, no, there's 2 more. Was not happy with his inclusion, but I think that he just about like justified his start winning the penalty. He had a really he was very hardworking and did the ugly stuff, which does matter in the game. He didn't really give the ball away. Like he didn't really touch the ball that much, but when he did touch it, he tried to keep possession. I think he was unlucky sometimes to be called for fouls that I don't actually know if they were fouls or not. Had a good little layoff to Havertz. I think Havertz should do better there. He did well. Like I think what frustrated me the only time was when, we were 3-0 up. Eddie's like kind of in on goal. He gets a little bit of the separation and he doesn't shoot. There was also like another, and he tried to like get the foul instead. There was also another one in the first half where it's on his left. He should shoot. I think I just want to see him be a little bit more deadly because this is your job. Like you're a striker. So when you get in the box, you get in and around the box, like you need to put these teams away. But we were already kind of like up and dominating. So it didn't really hurt us. But it's hard to give him like a poor score just because he worked hard and he did the job for the team, which is why I know he's out there. So I'm going to give him a 7.5, kind of like a similar score to Kai. Did hard work for the team, probably should have done better in some moments, but ultimately like we got the job done. So what can you say? So yeah, Diallo says Eddie is not sexy. My God, he works his socks off. Pure grafter. He was effective. Please give him an 8. I'm going to give him a 7.5, but fair enough. Trini says Eddie's game is evolving from Fox in the box to more involved in the build-up play. Zitch says 7.5, hardworking, won the penalty. Some decision-making in the final third was off. I agree with that. Saturdays equals youth says Eddie's 7 should have been higher against a team like Bournemouth. I think exactly, like, he hasn't scored, like, any goals away from home in, like, 7 games played or something like that. So, he needs to get the goals up, because really, when he gets free of the defenders, he should be 1v1 in the goalkeeper and putting in the back of the net. Then also when he's, like, free in the box, like, take the shot. So, a little bit frustrated with the finishing aspect of things and, like, being, like, a clinical deadly striker. Like, watching somebody, like, and I know Ollie Watkins hasn't scored any goals until now, but when I watch, like, when he gets in and around the box, it's done. Like, it's done. Like, he's gonna put it in the back of the net. And are they about to give a red for that? Yeah, they probably are. They probably are. I mean, it's unlucky he misses the ball, but I can see them giving a red card to Curtis Jones for that. Can't you? Um, yeah, they're gonna give a red for that. Yeah. Fuck's sake. So yeah. Yeah, possible red. I think it might just be one, but it's unlucky. But when you look at it like that on top of Basuma, it has to be a red. So, like, if that was Saka getting his leg, ooh, 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 yeah, 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 it's a red. But Spurs so lucky. They're so lucky. House McMoss says Eddie just isn't a big six striker. I agree. No, I think it's a red, you guys. I think it's a red. I know. Yeah, I know it's a red. They sent him off in the first 25 minutes of the game. They're so lucky. But Liverpool have been in the situation before against Newcastle and still won the game. So it's not complete write off. But I mean, if Tottenham cannot beat Liverpool from this stage, then are they even a big team? Because that's what they'd be saying about us. That sucks. That sucks. It's very unlucky for Curtis Jones, but what can you do? Um, Gabby Jesus, I thought, had a decent game. I think, he's playing off on the left-hand side, which I'm not quite sure is, like, exactly where I wanna see him, but he was okay, like, worked hard, didn't have to do much. Again, like, he didn't have to do much because Bournemouth are terrible, but he gets the assist for the first goal, and he's busy. He should score. He has 2 opportunities in the second half when we're already, like, 3-0 up, and doesn't put the ball in the back of the net, and that's the thing with Gabriel Jesus, it's he needs 3 or 4 chances to get 1 goal, and that's kind of the issue that we have with all of our strikers. It's nobody's really clinical enough because the chances that he got, he should have been putting at least one of those away. So, but again, another one that kind of worked hard for the team, got an assist, like, did his business. So I'm gonna give him just like an 8. Like, what else can you really say about Gabby Jesus? Like, and Charlie's saying 8. He's coming back into his skin. Gabby J has to start scoring. He does have to start scoring. Diallo says, hot take: Jesus was not better than Eddie today. Let's be honest. Both guys should get an 8. Yeah, maybe it's my bias, giving Eddie just 1/2 point less, but, I do think Jesus was just a little bit better, but maybe it could be my bias, like, fair enough. Stitch says 7.5, not clinical enough. I don't really like him from the left or in combination with Nketiah. I don't either. Like, I think we should choose one or the other. Um, and Gabby Jesus is better through the middle, you know, so I would take that into consideration as well, when I'm giving him a score. So yeah. Um, yeah, I know a lot of you guys are watching the Liverpool Tottenham game now. There's a lot going on kicking off in that game, but look, there's 200 of you guys in here. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel. In terms of Mikel Arteta, like, you can't give him any more than, like, you can give him like an 8. I think the only ding that keeps me from giving Arteta like a 9 is he didn't take Saka off early enough for me, and now he could potentially be injured. So I'm still a little bit questioning Mikel Arteta's management of Saka. I know you love him, and I know that we kind of need him, but, like, you need to start taking him off when we're up 3-0. Like, take him off. Like, come on. There's no reason for him not to be the first guy um, off the pitch in that circumstance. So fudge. So yeah. Um, but Arteta gets a 9, and I really enjoyed that game. I really like, you know, the performance. It was comprehensive. It was great. And so we get to just sit back and enjoy what else happens in the rest of the season. But we have big games coming up against Lens and Manchester City. But before that, on the Patreon side, like I said, post-match podcast and rewatch with Laura Kirk Francis. And then we're going to move on into, gearing up for our Champions League game, which will also have the watch along and player ratings. So I really enjoyed this. I love you guys so much. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel on your way out. And I will see you guys soon. Love y'all. Bye, guys.